My first experience with an urban arts adventure, my one and only, luckily it was one of the great adventures of my life. It was just an absolutely wonderful experience to do. Because, you know, an artist that just, let's say a painter, we go in the studio, we work alone, and you're there by yourself. But working with this commission and working with a poet who wrote the poetry for it, but mainly it was an absolute joy to work with all these guys down at the Metal Museum, National Ornamental Metal Museum. And, you know, to go in there and take ideas and then watch this thing come together in this massive endeavor. And I found out something. I started out with the commission came just through a grant that we applied for. Apparently, there had been a lot of applications for this work, and then it didn't work out, and they reapplied and sort of invited people. I don't know the whole story, but I didn't apply for this. I just was asked to join in with it, and we went and talked to the committee, and all of a sudden we had this. We were awarded this. And it was just, I started trying to draw, you know, I'm going to draw this thing and these ideas, and I'll get it. But it was weeks, and it was getting awful. It was just very frustrating. And finally I started building models of what I had this scrap mat board, and I started building shapes, and that really made it work, because then I'm working, and then I started working to scale. You know, like 1 inch would equal 1 foot if it up on the wall, and I would build these models, and then take them into the Metal Museum, and we would enter that dialogue about, well, you can't do this, but you can do this. And then I would say, well, okay, I'll give here, but I'm not giving up on this. And we had this wonderful dialogue between different experts. It was like an orchestra. It was like this symphony of different skills that came. And it was a glorious thing, because I'd never experienced that. And just like anything else, I would get so far, and they would build it, and then I would be stuck for a while, and we'd get real nervous, and then work again and see what it needed, and you'd add to it. And this was driving the people at the Urban Arts Commission crazy, I think, because they want they want a clear picture. And the blacksmiths, they work from precise drawings, and here's the old watercolor painter wandering in with these crazy models, you know, halfway there, and they had so much fun. I'd show up one day, and one of them would see me, and they would just shout out, "He's here!" And then they'd all run, they'd all leave, they'd all go hide somewhere, and I was all alone. But I'm saying that because I loved them, and I just love those guys down there, because they would take these ideas, and they would make this happen, and it was, I can't tell you how joyful that was. But it really started to work when I began this. It's about the river, but it's about performance. It's about live performance, and the river as being live, a performance being linear, and nowhere can you stand at this sculpture and see the beginning. If you're standing at the end, you can't see the beginning. If you're standing at the beginning, and that's how an artwork is. Nowhere can you stand. You don't know where ideas come from, and you don't know where they go. And so I used that, and I put stages in there, as in stages of performance and stages of the river, and I gave the river a performance to do on its stages. And to make it really work, I began to see the waves that are in it as pages in a book. And the book having a chapter here, and it speaks, and then it exits, and then it opens again, and entrance, performance, exit. And then I could see the whole thing, except it ends in the middle, and people come in from both sides, so you had to figure out a way to solve it. And that was the last thing. They were really getting worried. I mean, this thing was 2/3 done, and I didn't have the middle of it figured out. And I finally said, well, we'll just disappear it. And I built a vertical river, the river that's been going this way in performance. Now, at one time in a performance where the sweet spot of a performance, when you've been there, and all of a sudden you say, this is a sweet moment. This is when it goes inside. This is when a play or music finally gets in. And so I made the river vertical as if it was ascending now. And the river enters and disappears. It ends inside. But the whole thing was 2.5 years of work on that. And it's so funny to do something that was in, we designed it. It has about 150 separate sections. It weighs 10,000 pounds. And we started taking it over the week of installation, and the symphony was going to open Saturday, and we started on Monday. And we had to deliver it to the bottom floor, and then piece by piece take it up the steps. And some of these things weighed 300 and 400 pounds each. And these guys carrying these things up, it was wonderful. They didn't make me do any of it. But there they are, and they would put this thing in, and because they had done their job so well, it just fit. It was just amazing to see it come in and fit and work in, and of course the fire department never knew that we had torches up there welding right in the middle of the cannon center with these torches and sparks going. They never know about that, and it's too late now. It's in and it's over. I'll tell you something funny. We finished the installation about 2 hours before the symphony was opening that night. And it was so funny. One of the guys, we looked around and it was done. We looked, and one guy on the job said, are we done? And we decided that we were done. And so he got this funny little grin on his face, and he walked over to his satchel, and he reaches in, he pulls out a brown paper bag, and he opens it up and reaches in and pulls out 6 plastic cups and a quart of hot Budweiser beer. And there we are in the Cannon Center. 6 people that looked like street people, we looked like we'd been mud wrestling and drinking hot Bud out of plastic cups in the middle of the Cannon Center. And we were so proud. It was perfect. It was perfection.